I stopped talking to my entitled parents years ago. I, F34, was never very close to my parents and two brothers. My dad is pretty sexist and clearly preferred his sons, 31 and 36, over me. He would take them camping, rock climbing, etc., but I wasn't allowed to do any of that because according to my parents, that's not for girls. My mom often berated me for not being girly enough because I watched action movies, read superhero comics, and wanted a career instead of becoming a stay-at-home mom like her. She said I disappointed her by not following in her footsteps. To top it off, my older brother could always get away with bullying me because boys will be boys. He would take away my comics and would be allowed to keep them until I found a safe place to hide them. Growing up, these comic book characters, Batman, Catwoman and Wonder Woman, were my safe place. The one relative who I felt understood me and actually gave a damn about me was my mom's cousin. Let's call him Fred. Fred was also my dad's business partner, and we'd see him quite often. He agreed to take me climbing with his kids, would buy me comic books, and didn't ridicule me when I got zits. I'm closer to his kids than I ever was to my brothers. I was able to move out of my hometown at 27 and haven't gone back since. Nor have I seen or had any kind of contact with my family. I even got Fred and his family to promise not to reveal my whereabouts to my parents. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. Fred has passed away due to a massive heart attack. I came to his house to pay my respects and to help out with the funeral. As expected, I ran into my family. When my mom saw me, she started crying. She tried to hug me, but I pushed her away, not hard. My dad demanded to know why I hadn't come home to visit them for all these years. My oldest brother was accompanied by his wife and two kids and the younger one by his fiancée. They tried to introduce me to them. I just said a polite hello, but I honestly felt nothing. I just don't care about them anymore. My mom tried to guilt trip me by crying again, but I told her to show some respect for Fred and to not make a scene. After the funeral, Fred's daughter took me aside and told me that my mom had been pestering her mom to divulge my contact info. She asked if they could give it to her just to get her, my mom, off their backs. I didn't want this family to be troubled, so I said yes. Sure enough, the next day, my mom called me and again began to berate me for missing my brother's wedding and the births of his kids. I tore her a new one. I told her she and had done nothing but make me feel like a subhuman for the crime of having a vagina. That they were misogynistic, hypocritical narcissists, and had no business raising kids. I reminded her of every humiliation I endured while growing up in her home. I was never treated as a part of her family when I was a child, so why was she bothering now? She kept bawling and telling me I was being cruel to her. Before I hung up, I told her if she ever harassed me again, I would get a restraining order. Life is too short to be wasted on trash. Entitled parent wants to control the wedding. I got engaged years ago and my fiancé and I started planning our wedding when my future mill offered to pay for half of it. We were touched and told her it was too much, but she insisted. A few weeks later we tell her about the venue we've picked. We want to get married in the church my grandparents did. It was a few minutes walk away from the park I met my husband, and so we could get pictures there. Mill told us we couldn't as Catholic weddings are stuffy and lifeless. I'm a Catholic and faith is important to me. Eventually she backed off about the location. But then it was bridesmaid dresses. My grandma was making the flower girl dresses. Mill asked me to send the link to the adult bridesmaid dresses for my 2 bridesmaids. A week later I picked them up at the shop. The dresses were pink and the color I sent was blue. I rung my Mill up and she said the blue was boring in the summer, the salmon color was nicer. The flower girl dresses had a pale blue sash on, the suits were navy and the color scheme in the reception venue was blue. I told her to keep her money, we were doing it ourselves. My Mill still calls me spoiled because I hurt her feelings and just wanted her money. Mom is the entitled parent and she locked me in jail. I have videos. No, not juvie, actual fucking jail. Why, but some people I told assumed I meant juvie. Here's the fucking story. My mom's always been heavily abusive, like whipping me in the face with a bat that had 2-inch spikes on it or slamming my head in a car door. Spitting in my face and calling me a failed abortion level abuse, and on Friday we got into a fight, because she thought I had her keys, spoiler alert. I did, and she just starts yelling at me and punching me and shit. And I got videos of all of it. I'll link them eventually if I upload them. And she even grabbed my balls and said, I'm gonna fucking squeeze them until you give me my keys. And then she tried and I grabbed her face and threw her to the ground and she started screaming loud F. I left no marks or anything, but the cops get there and they immediately arrest me. No fucking explanation or anything. As we leave I see her showing the cops her legs. She's a mad junkie, so she has random ass bruises, and she decided to lie and say I caused them, and I get taken to the drunk tank. It's basically a stone room that's bright blue, and has bright lights on all the time. There are no mats or anything, you have to sleep on the stone floor with these lights blinding you. It's so disorienting because there's no way to tell if it's 7 a.m. or midnight and you don't get showers, or soap, or anything. The first night this drunk old black guy named Muhammad feels my ass up and tries to put my hand on his dick. So I kicked him away and he pissed himself and passed out. Luckily they got him out in the morning. I wake up basically having panic attacks and everything, talking to the judge and shit. I had to sign an EPO, emergency protective order. Also they took our masks away so I could possibly have COVID right now. Well, I went in Friday and just got out. I have enough fucking evidence to put that cunt underneath a fucking prison. And I intend to. I'm currently homeless RN because I'm not allowed to go home for 60 days, so I can't get a job, and because this is in Texas. My school has a strict-ass dress code that I can't make because I only have a shirt and sweats that have a big-ass hole in the crotch. I'm only 17, WTF do I do? Entitled parent wants me to babysit her child while I'm at school. This happened when I was in 4th grade. My teacher, let's call her Ma. Kathy, not her real name, got separated with her husband at that time. She cheated with her colleague. It was very obvious actually. All of the students, especially in my class, are well aware that there is something fishy between her and our guidance counselor. Long story short, Mr. Guidance Counselor got fired and moved to another province, and Ma, Kathy, is now a single parent who is desperately in need of babysitter. She brought her spawn to our class with the principal's permission. Now this is where SH happened. She assigned me to take care of her 3-year-old child while we're having a class, to entertain him so he would not cry or make any unnecessary noise that can distract the class. I was not willing, but she threatened me that she will fail me in her class. Oh, and I also need to watch over him inside the classroom in recess. I tell you, it's not fun at all. I can see and hear my friends playing and having a good time in general outside our classroom, while I have to suffer with a little spoiled brat. It went about 2 weeks when my mother noticed that my notebooks had been doodled by a little kid and all of my notes are incomplete. She asked me about this, and I told her about Ma. Kathy. She went ballistic and went to the principal's office the next day. Not sure what happened in there, but I think Ma. Kathy got suspended and we had a new substitute teacher. He is very cool and good at teaching. Never heard anything from her after that. So that is one of my few encounters of entitled parents. Sorry for my grammar. Have a nice day. Edit. Thank you, kind citizens of Reddit, for giving me an award. It is my first time receiving it, and thank you for those who read my post. Power hug. Edit 2. For those who are wondering why I didn't tell anyone or the principal, it's because, as I said, that Ma. Kathy is the principal's, whom I have the impression that she's not very approachable based on her habits, always yelling, and has that sour face. Permission as a 9-year-old. How should I know this is supposed to be legal? And it wasn't my first time to see a teacher at that time bringing a child in class. I didn't told my parents, because I was afraid that my teacher would fail me if either one of them showed up in school. So yeah, this will be my last update. Thanks.